You know what makes my blood boil? When someone who claims to be your family, your brother, your Shield brother, completely disrespects you on international television. And that's exactly what Roman Reigns just did to Dean Ambrose. While the entire wrestling world is losing their minds over Dean's shocking return to WWE, Roman Reigns sat there with the most disrespectful, cold-blooded reaction I've ever seen. And honestly, this might be the most disgusting thing I've witnessed in professional wrestling this year. Let me paint you a picture. Dean Ambrose, the lunatic fringe, the guy who bled alongside Roman Reigns, the man who helped Roman become the tribal chief we know today, returns after years away from WWE. The crowd is going absolutely insane. Fans are crying. The internet breaks. And Roman Reigns looks at the camera with this smug, dismissive smirk like Dean's return means absolutely nothing to him. Like their history, their brotherhood, their Shield legacy, all of it was just a footnote in Roman's so-called God mode era. I want you to remember something. When Roman was struggling to get over with the fans, who had his back? Dean Ambrose. When Roman was getting booed out of every arena from coast to coast, who stood beside him? Dean Ambrose. When Roman needed credibility, who gave him some of the best matches of his career? Dean Ambrose. And this is how the tribal chief repays him? With silence? With indifference? With disrespect? But here's where it gets even more infuriating. Sources close to the locker room are saying that Roman knew about Dean's return weeks in advance. He knew Dean was coming back for Survivor Series. He had time to prepare a statement, to acknowledge their history, to show even the smallest amount of respect to a man who helped build his empire. Instead, what does Roman do? He posts a cryptic message on social media that doesn't even mention Dean's name. Just a picture of the Eula Fala with the caption, "Acknowledge me." That's it. That's all Dean Ambrose gets from his former Shield brother. Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer this honestly in the comments. Does Roman Reigns owe Dean Ambrose an apology? Drop your thoughts below because this conversation needs to happen. Now, let's rewind and talk about what Dean's return actually means. This wasn't just any return. This was a statement. Dean Ambrose walked out onto that stage looking like he never left. The crowd reaction was deafening. The pop was so loud it registered on the Richter scale. Social media exploded with over 2 million mentions in the first hour alone. Dean Ambrose trending worldwide. WWE stock prices jumped. This was a moment. A career-defining, generation-defining, industry-shaking moment. And Roman's reaction? Crickets. Absolute silence. It's like Dean Ambrose didn't just return to save WWE from its biggest crisis in years. It's like Dean didn't just remind everyone why he's one of the most beloved superstars in company history. Roman treated it like Dean was some rookie debuting on Main Event. But you want to know what really grinds my gears? The hypocrisy. Let's talk about how Roman Reigns has built his entire bloodline storyline on the concept of family. Family first, right? The bloodline is everything, right? Roman has spent the last 3 years preaching about loyalty, about respect, about acknowledging your roots and honoring those who came before you. He demands absolute loyalty from Jey Uso, from Jimmy Uso, from Solo Sikoa, from everyone in his circle. But when it comes to Dean Ambrose, a man who is as much a part of Roman's legacy as anyone, suddenly that family code doesn't apply. The audacity is stunning. The arrogance is breathtaking. And the fans are starting to see through it. Here's what Roman doesn't understand. Dean Ambrose doesn't need Roman Reigns. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. Dean Ambrose does not need Roman Reigns. Dean built his own legacy. He became a Grand Slam champion. He main event WrestleMania. He carried SmackDown on his back. He went to AEW and proved he could be a top guy anywhere in the world. Dean Ambrose never needed Roman's approval, Roman's acknowledgement, or Roman's spotlight. If anything, Roman needed Dean more than Dean ever needed him. And that's what this is really about, isn't it? Roman Reigns feels threatened. For the first time in years, someone from his past has returned who the fans actually want to see more than they want to see Roman. The tribal chief's grip on WWE is slipping, and Dean Ambrose's return just exposed every crack in Roman's foundation. Think about the timing. Survivor Series is 3 weeks away. Traditionally, it's about brand supremacy, about team warfare, about putting your differences aside for the greater good. Dean Ambrose returns with perfect timing to be the wild card that WWE desperately needs. He could be the captain that rallies the troops. He could be the leader that takes WWE into a new era. But Roman sees Dean's return as a threat to his throne. I've been covering wrestling for years, and I've never seen such a petty, jealous, insecure reaction from a supposed top guy. Champions are supposed to elevate those around them. Champions are supposed to welcome competition. Champions are supposed to respect their peers, especially those who helped make them. But Roman Reigns isn't acting like a champion right now. He's acting like a tyrant who's terrified of losing his kingdom. Quick question for you: if you had to pick one person to lead Team WWE at Survivor Series, would you pick Roman Reigns or Dean Ambrose? Comment below and let's see where the fans really stand. Now, let's talk about what this means for the future. WWE is clearly building towards something massive. You don't bring back Dean Ambrose just for a nostalgia pop. You don't create this tension between him and Roman unless you're planning something explosive. Survivor Series is the perfect stage for this drama to unfold. Imagine the scenario: Team WWE needs a leader, and instead of the tribal chief stepping up, the fans demand Dean Ambrose. Imagine Roman's face when he realizes that the people have chosen the lunatic fringe over the head of the table. The story writes itself. Roman Reigns, the man who's been untouchable for over 3 years, suddenly has to compete with someone from his past who the audience genuinely loves. No manufactured storylines, no corporate push, just pure, organic fan support for Dean Ambrose. That's the kind of threat that keeps Roman Reigns up at night. But here's where it gets interesting. Backstage reports are suggesting that Roman tried to influence creative decisions regarding Dean's return. Sources say Roman wanted Dean's comeback to be downplayed, that he wanted Dean placed on a separate brand, away from SmackDown, away from Roman's spotlight. Can you believe that? The tribal chief is so insecure that he's trying to sabotage his own Shield brother's return. If that's true, and multiple sources are confirming this, then Roman Reigns has officially become everything he once fought against. Remember when the Authority was holding Roman down? Remember when Triple H and Stephanie McMahon were trying to keep Roman from reaching the top? Now Roman is the Authority. He's become the corporate champion, the backstage politician, the guy who's more concerned with protecting his position than with putting on the best show for the fans. The irony is poetic. The student has become the master of everything wrong with WWE. And let's address the elephant in the room: Seth Rollins. Where does the architect fit into all of this? The Shield Brotherhood was built on 3 pillars: Roman, Dean, and Seth. With Dean back and Roman showing his true colors, Seth is caught in the middle of what could be the most personal feud in WWE history. Will Seth side with Roman, the tribal chief who represents power and dominance? Or will he reunite with Dean, the brother who never played political games? One more question before we wrap this up: do you think the Shield will ever reunite again, or has Roman Reigns destroyed that legacy forever? Let me know in the comments. Here's the bottom line. Roman Reigns had an opportunity to be the bigger man. He had a chance to show respect, to acknowledge history, to prove that the tribal chief isn't just about power but also about honor. Instead, he chose ego. He chose jealousy. He chose to disrespect one of the men who helped make him a star. And that decision might end up being the biggest mistake of his career. Dean Ambrose is back. The lunatic fringe has returned. And whether Roman Reigns likes it or not, the landscape of WWE has just changed forever. Survivor Series is going to be explosive. The tension is palpable. And one thing is certain: Roman Reigns just made an enemy he cannot afford to have. The question isn't whether Roman and Dean will clash. The question is how devastating that clash will be when it finally happens. And based on Roman's shocking reaction, this isn't just about wrestling anymore. This is personal. This is family betrayal. This is Shield brother versus Shield brother. And honestly, I can't wait to see Roman Reigns get exactly what he deserves.